It's over. Finally, Manchester City have signed Jack Grealish. Super Jackie Grealish carves out Jackie. The man is a Manchester City player, and it's all so exciting. I'm absolutely delighted with this transfer, guys. And today, we're going to run through what this transfer means to Manchester City Football Club in absolutely loads and loads of detail. So grab a brew and settle down and get ready for a Jack Grealish expedition of analysis. First of all, though, I want to talk about this. So football is back, and I've teamed up with OneFootball to launch their exciting new season prediction giveaway. If you can predict the results of the 5 Premier League matches currently seen on screen alongside me, you could win a pretty incredible bundle consisting of the following: a football shirt of your favourite team, and it could be this kit I'm wearing right now, not this exact one of course, a brand new one, a OneFootball jersey as well, and excitingly a copy of FIFA 2022. All you gotta do to be in with a chance of winning this bundle is click the link in the description below, download OneFootball of course, and follow the instructions that load up to fill in the form and predict the 5 opening Premier League fixtures. But that isn't it. Once you submit your entry, you will be redirected to another landing pages, which gives you the opportunity, and it isn't mandatory, don't worry, but to predict one fixture from the Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga, and League One opening season matches. You don't have to do this, of course, but if you do participate in the global giveaway, you will be with a chance to win a pair of match tickets. The prize is separate as well to the local giveaway bundle prize. And if you've got any doubts or questions, you can check the T's and C's that are present on that landing page. For now, though, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description, go and enter that competition, and best of luck. Fingers crossed you win the prize. Do what past me said, go into that competition, but let's talk about this transfer. This is the one that we've been waiting for the past 2 weeks, and personally, I am so relieved after I tweeted that thing the other week about it being pretty close, because I was wondering and worrying if it was going to fall apart. But Jack Grealish is now a Manchester City player. He's going to be stepping out of the Etihad, and it's going to be very exciting. And definitely, it is exciting. Do let yourself get a bit carried away with this, because this boy is a superstar in the making. He is a maverick. He is exceptionally talented. He does have that little bit of star quality to him. He is a little bit rock and roll with his shin pads down and his flamboyant hairstyle. He's very much a superstar in waiting, and I utterly get the appeal of Jack Grealish. Also, he's the exact kind of player that you want to watch in a Manchester City shirt. He beats people. He scores wonderful goals. He's pacey. Tricky, pacey, creative. He's the exact kind of player that I watch football for. You want to watch those kind of players, don't you? You really do. And you can understand as well why this has ruffled so many feathers. Aston Villa fans, of course, absolutely loved him. Loved in past tense, because I'm not sure all of them do now. But this has definitely caused a bit of a scene across English football, not just with Villa fans, because it's been an expensive transfer, which we'll get onto in a bit. And it's definitely been one to turn heads, given the fact that Jack Grealish had made himself very much England's golden boy in many people's eyes. Even though he wasn't involved heavily at Euro 2020, he was clearly a man that many people were clamouring to see on the pitch. And Pep also wanted to see him on the pitch quite clearly. Pep's interest dates back an awful long time. I found this quote back from October 2019. Pep said, "He's incredible, a top player. I'm happy he stayed in the Championship to defend his club when he could have gone. He's a talented player who always creates something. He's an exceptional player, but too expensive for Manchester City." That was October 2019. Not anymore, Pep. He also said in 2020, "I had a lot of info and comments about his quality in the past, and I think he's overcome expectations. He's exceptional." Yeah, and Guardiola was right, and we can definitely afford it now, because we have just afforded Jack Grealish. And of course, we all know in general about Jack Grealish's love for Manchester City star Kevin De Bruyne. According to reports, they've already become friends, which is interesting. Genuinely, Grealish absolutely loves Kevin De Bruyne. Watch the clips of him talking about him. He's like, "I love him. I absolutely love him. I don't think people realise just how good he is." That was my terrible Brummy impression. I apologise. But he really does adore the guy. And when you look at the fact that as well, he spent an awful long time around Phil Foden, Kyle Walker, John Stones, Raheem Sterling, and maybe another guy wants to come here, a certain Spurs striker. You can definitely understand why this is a good move for him. The familiarity will be absolutely excellent. And his age profile, well, he's 25 now, and he turns 26 on my birthday. Me and Jack Grealish share the same birthday, September the 10th. He's exactly 10 years younger than me. I hate him for that. But either way, Jack Grealish is 25 now. He'll be 26 next month. So this is a good time for him to personally move and hopefully get his career kind of going to the elite level, with all due respect to Aston Villa. And And why he's coming now? Well, I think sometimes you just need your squad being refreshed, if we're being honest. Unfortunately, it may be negative news for Bernardo Silva, but sometimes it is necessary just to refresh your squad and get going again. And see another star in a Manchester City shirt. It gets the whole squad excited, it gets the fans excited, and it stops that staleness seeping in, doesn't it? In terms of the fee, well, it's a British transfer record. I don't know the exact fee, and I'm sure that will be debated for many, many years to come, but all the reports suggest it's an awful lot of money at around £100 million, and I think it's probably fair to say that it is actually a British transfer record, that we have gone to that £100 million. It's probably in the shape with some add-ons or something like that. I would not be surprised if it is like, I don't know, 70 to 80 million with a whole bunch of add-ons that if they get to it, that'll take it up to around 100 million. But if I'm being honest, I don't really mind, nor do I really care what we spend in Manchester City. If they think they can afford it, I'll let them do it. I've never been one to really care too much about actual prices for players. I know other people do, and I know that that's their prerogative, and I know people will moan, but I don't really care, if I'm being honest. What I will say, okay, you'll be 26 next month, but I would not be surprised if you get 6 or 7 years out of Jack Grealish at a very, very high level, because he's a very intelligent footballer. And if we look what he could possibly achieve at Manchester City, say he reaches the levels of some of the other midfielders that we've had, no one would question that value whatsoever. It's a long-term view, this Jack Grealish transfer, definitely, and he's someone that could definitely mould into Manchester City's shape. In terms of his style of play, well, we all know he's exceptionally creative. He really, really, really is. His stats, which I'll get onto later in this video, are up there with the likes of De Bruyne, Mane, Mason Mount, Alexander-Arnold, Bruno Fernandes, and Kevin De Bruyne, Son as well. When it comes to actual numbers, they're some of the most creative players in the Premier League. We know he's fouled an awful lot, which is something to discuss later on in this video, because he has so much time on the ball. We know he's an exceptionally progressive dribbler. He loves beating people. He loves bursting forward on the counter-attack and holding onto the ball, which may be something as well that he could change with his game a little bit, that he does hold on it a tad too long here and there. But once again, he's highly technical. He's highly creative. He seems to just live for football. He really loves it. And the prospect of watching him with his one-touch football linking up with the likes of Phil Foden is mesmerising. We know as well he could link up with Sterling. We've seen it for England as well. Imagine watching someone like Jack Grealish with Kevin De Bruyne. We won't have to imagine it for too long. His style of play is he creates. He works hard as well as Aston Villa's captain. Obviously, he's a fantastic player, a simply fantastic player, and he's one to be excited by. In terms of his squad role, well, all the reports seem to suggest that despite being able to play on the left wing, which I'm sure he will do at some point, Manchester City have him earmarked for that left centre midfield role in the number 8 position, which is very, very interesting. Of course, Iniesta was the most famous proponent of that position under Guardiola initially, until David Silva made it his own, of course, as well at Manchester City. Very different plays, obviously, all those. But what I will say about Grealish, he's very adept at moving the ball progressively in the way that Iniesta was as well, in terms of a dribbler. So maybe Guardiola will look at him and go, maybe with a little bit of moulding, that could be where Grealish really starts to shine in a Manchester City shirt. He will obviously be challenging with De Bruyne and Gundogan as well. I suspect this will be not bad news for Gundogan, but challenging news for Gundogan. He was fantastic last year, but this is Manchester City and you can't really ever stand still. There's no room for sentiment, and Gundogan's got to challenge Grealish and find his way into the team. Maybe they'll all play in some weird formation that Guardiola cooks up, but I wouldn't be surprised. But either way, he's coming to challenge, and that's the main point, really. Of course, as well, he can improve a lot. I mean, what I want to talk about is look at KDB's transition under Pep. Basically, KDB, he wasn't the same KDB as he is now when he came in. And Grealish right now, well, Grealish is at the point where he can maybe move up another level, I reckon. He was a rough diamond for a few years, Grealish, I think, if being honest. And I would say it's only in the last couple of years that Grealish has really started to find his footing and look like an elite level talent. Of course, he was doing good things before then, but his overall game has matured to be this perfect Manchester City ready player. And once again, going back to De Bruyne, I mean, obviously, they're very different players, because De Bruyne had just won the Bundesliga Player of the Year and played 40-odd times for Belgium at this point. But basically, Guardiola inherited a 25-year-old Kevin De Bruyne. Very similar, the exact same age back in 2016. And their stats were really, really similar. In De Bruyne's first season under Pellegrini, in 25 Premier League games, he got 9 assists and 7 goals. At the same age, Grealish managed 6 goals and 10 assists in 26 league games. Almost identical, if we're being totally honest. Obviously, De Bruyne these days is a much more well-rounded player than he was when he first joined Manchester City. He was already brilliant back then, but now he's exceptional. There's much more dynamism and intelligence to De Bruyne's game. He's possibly the most complete central midfielder in world football. And why can't Guardiola look to do something like that with Grealish? If you think about De Bruyne initially when he joined, he was often used out wide as a number 10 in a 4-2-3-1. He was never used as this complete midfielder. And maybe Guardiola looks at someone like Kevin De Bruyne and looks at what he did with David Silva, who was moulded into this 3-8 role, and thinks, maybe I could do that. Maybe I could do that with Grealish. I suspect that's what Guardiola really, really wants to do with Jack Grealish. And I don't see why he couldn't, really. Honestly, he's got all the tools and all the ability. In terms of his stats, well, I've got the last couple of years. Last season in the Premier League, he got 6 goals and 12 assists in 26 games, and 1 in 1 as well in the Carabao Cup. That's us. In the Premier League, that's 18 goal involvements in 26 games, which is not bad at all, of course, as well. And the season before that, in the 1920 season, he got 6 assists and 8 goals in 36 games. Overall, the numbers are astonishing, but they are good, man. They are good for a team, of course, that often is nowhere near the level in terms of the balls that Manchester City has. That's where we're very, very lucky. In general, look at this on screen now from Up to Joe. Jack Grealish has created 81 chances following ball carries in the Premier League in the last 2 seasons, which is more than any other player in the competition in the period, as well as the most across the top 5 European leagues. So to break that down, no one else carries the ball and creates more chances in Europe in the top 5 leagues. That is absolutely insane. The most carries into a box by any player in Europe and only started 25 games. That is an astonishing stat and shows just how good Jack Grealish is at creating chances for one, and of course also dribbling as well. It's a ridiculous thing, as you can see on screen. Quick interjection as well, I forgot to include this graphic from The Athletic as well. I mean, look at that graphic. It's absolutely sublime. It's impressive if you're at the top end of any of those scales, never mind in the top right-hand corner. Grealish is both a threatening passer and dribbler. He's an absolute outlier, basically. Callum Hudson-Odoi, impressive, by the way, but look where Kevin De Bruyne is, and look where Grealish is. Incredible dribbler, incredible creative passer. Chef's kiss, what a player. And what credit The Athletic for these stats as well here. You can see this graphic on screen now where he's only just behind Bruno Fernandes from chances created from open play. Once again, we've only 25 Premier League games last season. He's third in the table of chances created behind Mason Mount alongside Kevin De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes. Once again, with less games played. And then assists, he's down in joint third with, once again, only 25 games played, which is a quite astonishing bunch of stats. You've got to obviously appreciate as well, he played roughly 10 games at around 700 minutes, fewer than all of these players other than Kevin De Bruyne. That's astonishing. If you break these stats down to per 90 figures, Grealish has the second most chances created behind Kevin De Bruyne and the most chances from open play in the Premier League last season. That's a wonderful stat, and it shows just how good Jack Grealish is at this whole football thing and chance created. He's an exceptionally creative player. One interesting stat as well is he was 12th on the total carry distance table, which is how far he dribbles the ball up the pitch, basically. He was 12th in the league. Usually these stats are the preserve of central defenders. The likes of Ruben Diaz, Harry Maguire, Luke Ayling are really high up that list. But despite being a guy who has less space to run into, given he's an attacking midfielder, Grealish is 12th on the overall list, which is he's the only player classified as a forward, which is quite frankly ridiculous. I mean, it shows how good he is dribbling on the counter potentially, something that maybe we've missed since Leroy Sané. Another stat here, and once again I'm going to credit The Athletic for this. Last season he carried the ball into the penalty area 80 times, a staggering 18 more times than Raheem Sterling in second place, and yes, that's despite the fact that Grealish played 26 games. He also ranks third in terms of passes into the box per 90 behind De Bruyne and Hudson-Odoi. Once again, that stat and that graphic on screen is from The Athletic. Go and subscribe to that. They're doing wonderful work over there, and support your man Sam Lee. And the most important thing as well, when he gets into the box, he keeps it. Obviously when you get to the box, you expect it to do something with the ball. And Grealish is up there with Sterling, Foden and Mahrez, who are all in the top 10 for passes attempted when completed inside the box last season. His stats basically are phenomenal and indicative of someone who's exceptionally creative and who knows how to use the ball and doesn't really waste it once he gets into the area. Of course, it'll be a different kettle of fish entirely once he gets to Manchester City, because you never really know how a player will react when they get less space on the ball. But all the stats point towards one thing: a guy with exceptional stats who could explode in the way that Kevin De Bruyne did with more time on the ball. In terms of concerns, and I want this video to be fair, so I've talked about all these positives, but I want to talk about the concerns because they are there. One, he's fouled an awful lot, which is not really a concern directly for him, but what I will say is that he was the most fouled player in the Premier League by far, despite playing just 26 games. The season before, he set a new record of fouls against him, which is 167. Now, obviously, that's not necessarily his fault, but what I will say is a player that gets fouled really easily could disrupt our rhythm. Manchester City aren't really a team known for their brilliance at set pieces in general, so we're one for metronomic passing and keeping of the ball. Maybe all these fouls are drawn because he does have a slight tendency every now and then to hold onto the ball a little bit too much, which I suspect is something Guardiola will try and get him to release it a little bit sooner and choose when to keep the ball. It's understandable given he was Villa's best player by a mile that he would try and do a lot more himself, but we can't have the play constantly disrupted by pauses, because that's not how Manchester City work. It messes up the flow, it messes up the chance to drag Aston Villa out of shape, so we have to obviously work a way around that. I mean, of course, as well as a minor concern is how will he adapt to life at Manchester City? He's been incredible there, but I think it's fair to say that, relatively speaking, he's been a bigger fish in a smaller pond compared to Manchester City these days. It does take a mental adjustment to understand life as just one of many star players, and I'm sure he can adapt to that, but it is something to consider. You know, you might like or relish the opportunity to be the star man, and some people don't always react perfectly to being just one of many. I don't know if he will or not, but it's something to consider. You got to consider as well the fact that it takes a bit of time sometimes to adapt to life at Manchester City. Mahrez has fully adapted now and playing fantastic football, but at first it was a little bit of an adjustment period for Mahrez. There's more defensive work, you've got an awful lot of space, a lot less space to run into, and sometimes you can get a lack of game time. How will he react to that? I don't know, but what I do know is that he's a very good player, and we'll have to see. And of course, away from that, his off-field issues haven't been always great. There are some bad headlines about Jack Grealish out there. He has to mature and grow up. No more stumbling out of nightclubs late in the morning, and he has been involved a few times with some driving incidents which definitely can't be happening at Manchester City Football Club. And injuries wise, I do wonder, man. I do wonder, if that injury history, he does miss games here and now. Lots of shin injuries, man. Shin bone injuries because of his iconic look. I mean, he missed 12 games with a shin bone injury in 2021. He missed 15 games with a shin bone injury in 18-19. I wonder if Manchester City will tell him to roll his socks up and wear a big shin pad, because you can't be missing big games at Manchester City. I know it looks cool, Jack, but I'm sorry, mate. If you're getting those shin injuries, it ain't good. It ain't good. So we'll see what Manchester City do about that, because he does have a few injuries here and there, and we can't be having that. He's missed games before. In 17-18, he missed 15 games. In 18-19, he missed 15 and 12 last season. So there is a minor concern there when it comes to injuries. They're only minor concerns, but they are. But that is Jack Grealish, as far as I'm concerned. It's going to be so exciting to watch him adapt to Manchester City. He is a superstar. Do enjoy it. Do enjoy this transfer, because people like Jack Grealish are why I watch football. I love people who can get crowds off, get crowds going, get that sense of excitement. I love maverick footballers. I love the idea of watching him link with Phil Foden, Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling, maybe Harry Kane, Gundogan. Watching him link with these players, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic, and enjoy it, man. He's a fantastic player. He's a Manchester City player, and City have smashed their record, and I'm going to enjoy the salt from fans of other teams who are not happy about this whatsoever. But Jack Grealish, get excited, man. Enjoy it. He's a wonderful player, and I've got no doubt whatsoever. We look back in a few years, and we'll really think that was money well spent. You can tell by the way how upset Aston Villa fans are, how good this guy is. He's a superstar in the making, and I've got a feeling he's going to do pretty damn well in a Manchester City shirt. I cannot wait to watch him play. I hope you enjoyed this video. There'll be loads more videos about Jack Grealish in the coming days. I'll probably be live right now if you're watching this, talking about Jack Grealish, because I've been waiting for this to come. Thank you to Scott Denemy, my Patreon producer. Go and get involved in that OneFootball competition. Manchester City have signed Jack Grealish. If you enjoyed this video and want loads more reasonable, hopefully entertaining Manchester City analysis, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and I'll see you very, very soon. Come on, City!